nothing to do with the Hispanic culture and in America and immigration. And so we want to talk about that issue because it's really, I don't know. I guess I'm not scared to talk about anything. I mean, I'll talk about anything as long as we can be respectful about it. And it seems like this particular subject can be, in certain circles, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, it can be a divisive subject. It can be divisive among Hispanics and Anglos. I don't even know what to call these different groups. But you understand what I'm saying when I say that. It can be divisive, it's certainly divisive in politics. It can be divisive among Hispanics, from the best I understand. And so I think we can sit around and talk about these things because we're adults. And we're Christians, and so we ought to be able to talk about these things and talk about the difficulties of these things. And so I appreciate I appreciate Estela and Nestor both joining in on this and agreeing to come together and talk with me about these kind of things and hopefully shed some light, open my eyes to what the issues are and how people feel about this. Now, I want to talk real quick where this came from, like why it is that we were talking about this issue in particular. And it came out of a conversation that I was having with Estela. The nominating committee had been meeting here at the church, and we were looking at English as a second language, and which is it was a ministry, and what a service really is a ministry that we offer to. Not, it turns out to not be just Hispanics, because we've had people from what other?
India, China, Afghanistan, all the Spanish-speaking countries.
Africa as well. Sometimes.
Yeah.
So we've had them from a lot of different backgrounds, but we have not been having it for, I don't know, a year maybe, something like that. We hadn't had it for a while, so I just went to Estela, who also does our food pantry, gets all our food bags ready every single week. And so while she was doing that, I went in to bug her and distract her from her task. And I was just talking with her about that, and she said, here's what she told me. She said, we haven't been having it for a while because people are afraid. And I don't know. I guess I am self-centered like everybody else. And that just had never been on my radar that a group of people would be scared to come here because they were afraid of the immigration issues and ICE and deportations and those kinds of things. It just kind of blew me. I'm just stunned for a second that there were people who had to think about that, and I have never in my life had to think about that. I mean, I was born and raised here in Georgia. Ain't nobody taking me out of Georgia. There's never been a threat of taking me out of Georgia. My parents may want to take me out. My wife definitely wanted to take me out a few times just of existence, but never to leave the country. And so I just wanted to kind of look at this issue so that we could understand each other, and especially so that believers can at least get differing viewpoints on how to think about this subject. Well, I'm not looking for us necessarily to change our mind on anything because I don't know where people stand on this. But at least if we can hear each other and talk about these things, we'll know better how we can address them. So I guess really kind of where I want to start is telling us a little bit, and I've done this every week so far because, I mean, I know y'all, I know a little bit about your story. I know I don't know everything. But I want to hear your stories about how y'all got here because neither one of you, I don't know how else to say, neither one of you originated here. You came from another country to come here, and so I'd like to just briefly, I know we don't have time to hear everything about it, even though I know that it's interesting because I have heard some things. But tell us a little bit about how you got here. From where you started out. So, Estela, tell us a little bit about your background and your story.
Okay, I'm Estela. I am from Cuba. Cuba is a beautiful island. Used to be. Well, the island's still beautiful, but it's being destroyed. Castro took over in 1959. And with what we've been watching, all this happening in our United States, it happened in Cuba, and I have a strong feeling about it. But anyway, my mother, my parents, I have two other sisters and a brother. We were six. We were six in the family. We all left Cuba in 1971.
And so were you an adult at this time?
Yeah,
I don't want to give away your age.
Not adult.
But
I was 16.
okay, okay.
Pretty
Do the math,
pretty
y'all. No, I'm
close.
just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right, go, I'm
Pretty
sorry.
close, pretty close.
But you were, I mean, you were
in
old
Cuba,
enough to.
In Cuba, you were an adult even at 10 years old, because
Wow.
the responsibility, were on you,
And so you were very conscious of what was going on. I guess that's my
Yes.
point. It's not like you were a
Yes.
baby. So okay, go ahead.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
my grandfather, my mother's father, always told us about it. And of course, my mother, very strong-headed, and most of you, some of you didn't know her, but she had a strong spirit and a fighter.
Hmm.
She was a fighter. And she said, by the way, I was born, when we were born, we were Catholic. And my mother changed us to Baptist religion. I guess about by the time Castro took over, I was 5. And anyway, it all happened, it was just a lot. We were changing churches. We were the only ones changing churches, and they say my mother had the devil in her, because most of the families on both sides, they were Catholic. So anyway, that started, and then Castro took over. My grandfather knew what Castro was like. He came from Spain. They went through something like that in Spain, and so he knew what was coming. And he told my parents, get out. In fact, he had 10 children, and he encouraged all of them, get out. But not everybody could or wanted to, because it takes a process. So anyway, we requested to the government, Cuban government, to leave Cuba in 1966. And it took 5 years for them to say, okay, it's okay for you to go. Okay, what happens then when you do it legally, the government here in the United States wanted us to come here. They were the one open arms back then. Everybody can come. But they had a history. They had everything on you. When you request to leave the country, the Cuban government gave the American government your background. They knew everything that you had done. My father was an accountant. He had to leave his job. We were able to stay in school, but we had to be very careful to what we said and who we talked to, because they were watching, they were listening. Anyway, so when Castro the government say, okay, y'all can go. They say, well, you know what? You're not Cuban anymore. You gave up the citizenship. So you actually nobody. You don't have a country. So guess what? We were so happy when the United States said. They took us with open arms. It was unbelievable. United States went to get us to Cuba, and we all came by plane, not by boat, because I had that. I said, no. Back then, when it was legal, they went and got you, and by plane. A lot of people, the whole group came. You couldn't bring anything with you, so you just came with whatever you had on. Then we went to Miami for about a week. We had to be sure all our uh, vaccinations were up to date, which in Cuba you didn't have very much of anything, so you had to go through that process. We were there for about a week, and then we had an uncle and aunt in Carrollton, which is about an hour southwest of Atlanta. They say, the government also provide you a place for you to go and work. They find you a city, and they say, okay, this is what's available at the time. Guess where it was at? Chicago, Illinois. We came in February. Guess what weather is like in Chicago? And my aunt, when she heard that, she said, no way, no way, you are not going. So this is what she did. They were very smart because we were six in the family, and they also happened to come from Cuba not too long before then. So they were struggling themselves. Uh, she got in touch with the Baptist preacher, First Baptist preacher in Carrollton, Georgia. Said, we had this big family. We need help. We need a way to get them here. The government pay for all the flying expenses, but we need to be sure they're going to find a job. The kids can go to school. Let me tell you, we came on a Saturday and it was snowing. The first time ever we seen it snow. We couldn't go to bed because it was just unbelievable. It was fun. We were freezing, but we wanted to play in the snow, whatever the snow was. But we came on a Saturday night, and on a Monday, we were in school. Wow. My father was working. I mean, that preacher didn't waste any time. He said, okay, we got this. God was so good.
My first pastorate was 10 minutes south of there.
Really?
So, I was in a little town called Roopville.
Roopville,
Yeah.
yes.
Now, it's just a spot on the road. Hey, but it does have the distinction of having the first roundabout in the state of Georgia.
Really? The
Yeah.
first one?
Why?
I don't like
Why?
those.
I don't know. But anyway. All right, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, that's a nice little town. I'm just kidding. No, I've been through it a lot. But anyway, we stayed with my aunt and uncle for about a month. My father went to work. We all went to school. Guess what we had to do? We wrote everything that the teacher had on the board. They were very nice teachers. They wrote a lot for us. Because we didn't know English at all. We just knew no. It's the same English in Spanish and in English. So that was the only thing we knew. So they came, we wrote everything down. We went home, had to get a dictionary, translate, and that's how we, Was it easy? No. But we learned, made us learn quicker. We just didn't have a choice, and they say, we all were separated. They didn't have us all together, and because they didn't want us to speak English, and that seemed cruel. But it really, now looking back, that's the best way to learn it. If you want to learn a different language, you go to that country where it's spoken, and you emerge into that language, Glen. So you go to Africa and emerge there, and you learn, their language, but English spoken there a lot. So, but anyway, we went, and that's how we did it. That's how we started. And the government, since, it was a reduced income, my father was the only one working, and then my mother started working on alterations. A local lady had a shop, and she said, well, I can use you. Somehow it was translated, and she started helping the lady. And that's my mother used to do that in Cuba. And she kept on learning and seeing how it was done here. But and then we moved to apartments from the government reduced income apartments. We lived there. The church, whatever extra they have when it comes to furniture, they just brought it in to the apartment. We had a full house. I mean, it was just we were amazed because in Cuba nobody had anything. You didn't share anything. So that was amazing. I mean, these people they know us. And some of the kids in school they used to say, are y'all from another planet? Because we didn't speak English. So, and we were a lot darker in Cuba. You walk a lot, and you don't have an umbrella, so you walk and walk. You don't have any transportation. So we were a lot darker and black-headed.
A lot closer to the equator,
Yeah.
so the sun is more intense.
It's more
so.
intense. It's hot. But anyway, that's how we made it. And we settled in Carrollton. And then we all went to college. Carrollton has a college. I went there. Then my sister is a nurse. And she went to the nursing school because of the preacher say, is that what you want to do? I'm going to get you a place. And she went to Atlanta, Georgia Baptist. She went to Forsyth first to learn English, and then she went to Georgia Baptist in Atlanta. And she has a great career. She retires now. She's retired, but I mean, everything just happened. It was just wonderful.
So how long did it take? How long was the process for you to become a citizen here?
Okay, it takes 5 years, and I don't think that has changed. So you had to become a resident first. You had to go through the process, then you get a green card. But because we were political refugees, we still had to go through the process, but it was called a little different back then. You didn't have blah, 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 because we kind of skipped the first process. We had to be resident. We had to live in a location for about 3 years. And then after 5 years, we became United States citizens. And I do remember we had a questionnaire. We had to learn the questions and the answers because you have to be sure to answer those. And we did. How we did it, I don't know. But it was it was a neat feeling going with my whole family and then seeing other people. Just amazing. We were so grateful. I think nobody will understand. Coming from a country that you don't have any liberty, not even now in Cuba. Sometimes in Cuba you don't have air conditioning. You are blessed if you have.
Kind of like in here.
Yeah, like now, where you, but you have if you have a fan, that's a lot. But so you raise your windows, and the government, some of the people in the government used to throw rocks at us. Yeah. So you were washed, and you didn't have any peace. You went to church because you felt, that's what you needed to be. and they knew we were leaving, so it didn't matter. Now, if you stay there, you can't go. Honestly, they really give you a hard time. You have difficult time finding a job. But my father had to give up his job, and he had to go and work in the field for 5 years. Somebody that have never done that, that was not easy. But he made it. Barely, but he made it.
Well, Nestor, tell us about you.
Well, I'm so happy to hear Miss Estela. I mean, she's a migrant, coming out from Cuba. I know that it's a history. It was hard. We even studied that in the seminary, how things happen.
Okay.
Yes, how things happen there, and how the Baptists got into the island, and they established themselves on the Occidental and the Oriental Baptist areas and all
We
that.
were in the Oriental.
Yes,
part
I mean, so
Oh, okay.
so it brings me a lot of history back.
Okay.
So my history is a little bit different though. We Puerto Ricans, I'm from the island of Puerto Rico. We are born United States citizens. A lot of people still believe that because we are a territory of the state, we are not citizens. Yes, it was upon a time in the beginning of the 1900s. We were still a territory, but we participate in the First War, and the Second War, all these events of war, and eventually they say, well, I guess here they say, well, it's not fair. We bring these guys to fight our fight, and that's pretty much the way we got citizenship. So when I was born on a military base. My father was in the United States Army. He served there for about 22, 25 years. So I lived in Puerto Rico for about 27 years. One of the things that is amazing is we teach English from first grade to 12th grade, and we don't know how to speak English. Because there's no need. There's no need for us to speak. We all speak Spanish. Of course, that was during my days. We all speak Spanish, and now we got, I believe there's more Hispanic people there that speak English as well. But when I came here in 1989, I came straight to Marietta, Georgia. That's on the north side of Atlanta. I'm quite sure you guys know. And I was living close to a place that they call the Big Chicken.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Highway 41. So when Lane asked where it was,
Okay, I didn't get that.
so
I've been to that chicken place, though.
so I thought it gotta be there, the Big Chicken place. Okay, so I lived there for close to that place for about 4 years. And then I joined the military here. I still have really bad problem with my English. I learned English when I was working. The people would help me. They laugh about it. They kind of belittle me a little bit, all that stuff. But I won't give up. I joined the military. I don't know if the drill sergeant did it on purpose. He put me as a squad leader. So he forced me, I guess, to learn more English in a way. So my squad did really good. We all passed everything, the basic training. And then I came, spent some time there on Columbus, Georgia, Fort Benning, in a place called Kelly Hill, 218 Artillery Battalion. And then I moved here for a couple more years with the 260 Quartermaster Hunter when we still, not the 3rd Division, I even forgot what division we were, but they changed that later, and as soon as that happened, I decided to come to the civil work, and I jumped from one side to another side. I never was able to hold a job for more than 5 years, and lately I've been working with the government. I've been working with the city of Savannah, and I'm getting close to that moment of retirement. So I'm, yes, yes. And and I have I've been here on Savannah since then for about I'd say almost 20, 30 years. For 30 years here in Savannah, I was one of the first Hispanic guys around here. You would look and you couldn't find nobody else but myself unless you was in the military and inside the base. Then you can see more Hispanic people, but it was hard. The only place that I knew that was Hispanic, a store I'm talking about, was one on Garden City called La Salsa.
Yeah.
It's still there, okay, but all the Hispanic community that we have these days around here,
They weren't
it
here.
wasn't here.
Huh.
You know, it was not here. We don't have a lot of things have changed. Highway 17 has changed. Truman Parkway is here. You know, a lot of things. Savannah Harbor was built, the golf course, the Westin Hotel, a bunch of stuff has. I mean, it's amazing. And one thing that you just asked Miss Estela, how long was her process and all that stuff? I can tell you that right now, even when I'm not a citizen, my wife, you know, my wife, she's Mexican. We have to apply. She had to apply for to become a resident. Before we get married, do some kind of paperwork. There's different pathway to become a United States citizen. But most of the guys usually the paperwork start at the embassy or the consulate of the country that you want to go. In this case, you was in Mexico. You're in Mexico. You want to go for vacation or medical purposes. You can get a visa for that. You know, and come do whatever you need to do here, enjoy your vacation, then go back, or you medical procedure, then come back. But there are other things, you know, like work permit, humanitarian permit, all kind of stuff. There are different pathways. Most of the time is you need to come back after that time that they allow you to be here is passed. And that's what happened with my wife. She came as a visitor, and then, well, she fell in love with me.
Oh, sweet.
Don't even.
And
Don't.
she tried to go back, say, you're not going nowhere. We started the paperwork and all that, and then you know the rest of the story. Miss Catherine know the rest of the story. Estela know the rest of the story. Bill know the rest. We got married here, and you know we have our kids here. Ever since they grow up and all that, so it been a little history. But the process is not like it used to be long time ago. Some, and I was talking before this podcast to Lane. Some of these guys that come here, in the legal way, it might take decades for them to
Wow.
become residents. You know, it's a lot of paperwork. They have to go back sometime to their country. They don't know if they're ever going to be called back to the States to complete the process. Thousands of dollars are invested. I mean, you get lawyers. So it's not like with open arms. It's not. It's not like that. It haven't been like that for a long time. There was once upon a time where you crossed the border between the States and Mexico, like you used to cross Canada. Not passport, not nothing. You just do it. But that it starts changing, and there might be reasons for that. I respect that. That's okay. But it's not like it used to be a long time ago. So that's one of the things that have been happening lately. I guess things have changed.
So like when we hear people talking online or on the news, and they talk about pathways to citizenship, you can think what you want to about it. I mean, you know, and we can agree on that. That's what we want people to work toward, to be legally here. But it's not as easy as it sounds. I mean, it's not like, oh yeah, I want to be one. I'm going to go apply, and then in a couple of weeks I'll get my answer back. I mean, it's nothing like that.
No, even with people that have their finance in their country, and I can talk a little bit about my wife's family. Sometimes maybe one of their family, they approve their visa, and then the other ones that had come here before, they do not approve it. You know, so they always go back on stuff, but we don't know what is with the process. And then in their case, they just want to come here to visit. They are well established back there in their country. But some people, I mean, it's like you start the process, you come here, you want to start, you have to submit all the paperwork. I guess one of the paperwork is DA 600, something like that, where you start your process for residency here in the state to become a resident. It just takes a little bit longer sometimes, and the lines are longer as well.
So both of y'all are really, I guess, I don't know if immersed is the right word. I'm not very connected to the Hispanic culture here, and Estela, you're doing a lot of the ministries there. You talk with folks from there. You do the English as a second language here. Nestor, you work in a sector, even though you work for the city, you work with people who are very immersed in that. A lot of the people that they are employing are from the Hispanic culture. So I guess it's going to sound funny for me to say. So to start out with, I guess my first question about that is, even though I did want to know about the process of becoming a citizen, what is especially in our area, okay, which I guess we can't speak for people in North Carolina and South Dakota, but in and around Savannah, what is the general feeling among Hispanics with all the immigration debate? And, ICE just had a raid at the Hyundai plant not too long ago, which didn't affect, I think that affected South Koreans more than it did Hispanics, but still, that still says something to them as well. So what is the general feeling, general attitude, general thoughts, and all that? What's going on with the Hispanics in our area?
Well, right now, I started back English as a second language 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And I have people from Venezuela, which is the same thing that happened in Cuba. They are here for political, and it seems like they let those people come, and they are treated a little different because there is more pressure on them. Honestly, people, when it came to Cuba, now in Venezuela, people disappear overnight. I mean, without any reason. You just, so a lot of times there's pressure to get people out because you don't know. So right now I have a family, and that's the first thing they say: we are legal. We're doing our paperwork. And she say, yes, it costs a little bit. Yes, it takes time, but we want to do it. I said, well, I'm glad you are, because there is nothing like you can relax and enjoy the life, the new life that you have, knowing that the government is not going to come after, ask you questions, or you just get nervous every time you are around the government, okay? So there is peace. And I encourage them, I say, that's the only way you can do it. Now, they have a friend now that is coming. She's from Colombia. I didn't want to ask too many questions, but the way she came across, she, very apprehensive. families in New York. So I said, well, when will you see them? And her answer was, well, they don't want to take a chance coming down here, and I'm not going to take a chance going up there, traveling. I say, see, and she didn't answer. I think some people don't know what they, if they want to commit to become a citizen, yet they want to be here. But the problem with that is time flies. And before you know it, your visa is canceled. You know, you are in trouble. So you have to think about it. You know, come, because this is a great, but you have to take it seriously. Do the paperwork, and you will never have any problems, any issues. So that's, to me, that's the answer. Because and a lot of time you have to go to Atlanta, because here in Savannah there is not much help. And locally, at the time we were living an hour from Atlanta, so we were able to go, you know, when we needed to. But sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes people don't have the money or the means to go to Atlanta from here. So we'll see. Well, you know, I encourage her, please don't give up if this is what you really want.
So, Nestor, what about you? Like, what do you sense the feeling is among the Hispanic population in our area? I mean, is there a lot of fear, or?
Yeah, definitely. There's some that, I mean, it's not like it used to be a couple of years ago. Okay, so there's more fear. There's more tension because of these political situations that are happening, and I blame the politics. Everybody. I mean, the way that I look at my position is we're dealing with people, regardless of, and I mean, this, you can justify the actions that you can take against the people that have come here legally doing the paperwork and the stuff, and you can justify the answers or your position against those that have come here illegally. Well, the way that I look at it, maybe is because of my position as a group leader, you know, of the Hispanic group, is like we need to find solutions to this. People cannot live on fear. I encourage these guys, you know. I mean, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You stand inside of your place. Do not guarantee you that you don't going to be deported, you know, take back to your country. You need to go out, buy some food. You need to go out, put gas in your car, your vehicle, go to the hospital. You need to go to work. Your life need to keep going forward. Do not get stuck there. Okay?
So there are a lot of people who are just like boarding themselves up in their house?
Yes. Well, some of the people that come here with your group here, the Hispanic group that come here, they had approached me and they had told me that they find it difficult. They still come here, but I know some of these guys, they will, and they have told me, some of them, they just stay right there. Eventually, I guess, when they are in need, an emergency thing, they will come out, but like, they might not come to the ESL classes any longer, you know, this is
They don't want to come.
no, I don't want to get, you know, the chance of, you know, if somebody show up there, all that. And it put the church in a bad position as well. You know, the way that I'm saying this is because, at least I believe this is a place that should be like a safety place, and you come here to worship, You come here looking for help to be here. We here to listen at you, to pray with you, um, and it should be kept that way. We're trying to help. I encourage this guy, like Stella say, do your paperwork.
Yeah.
Do your paperwork. Start your paperwork. Okay, this is wrong. Let's get it right. Okay? In the meantime, these are human beings. You know, these are human beings, and I guess we just use them sometimes as statistics.
Oh,
You
gosh,
know,
that's sad.
you know, that's the way that I
In
feel.
both, in both, like
And
all
most-
political
most-
parties. Yeah.
you know, it's just like that. And it created, like, I think somebody mentioned here, it created divisions as well, even within the same Hispanic community. You got a group of Hispanic that come from places, you know, that they have suffered the communist regiments, the socialist regime of Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, different places, and they know what is this all about. And they come here, and this is heaven for them. They do it, you know. They get the permit. They start with themselves. So when they see other people coming, you know, and they doing it the wrong way to come out here, you know, they start questioning. I mean, why you guys don't do it the right way? So it starts separation now. You come here to be supported by the government, all this kind of stuff. So then you have a group that is working hard. We paying. I mean, you know, guys are not paying taxes. Yes, we are paying taxes for you. You know, so it creates some kind of barrier. You know, and how do you justify this? How you justify this? Well, again, I have to put myself, or you guys are Christian, you the church, need to look at what the Bible say, not what politics indicate. Okay, so we uphold, and when I tell my guys, we uphold the law of the country. We come here, we need to follow the law. Okay, do it. Okay. In the meantime, we're supposed to take care of the people that is in need. And yes, they're here. They should have done it the right way. They didn't. But now, what? We're just going to turn our back to them? You know, some of these guys, they need, I don't know, assistance to the translation. You know, I helped a couple of them. Let's go there. Let's talk. Sometimes they call me, hey, I get called by the police. And I just go show up there, be a translator, try to make things okay. But we are here to help I don't care what country you come. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is a nation that was established by migrants. That's the little bit of history that I know. They came from Europe, right? Here, mostly, you know. And we need to respect that history. We need to understand, okay, the laws are here, are to be obeyed. If they want to build a fence, build the fence. I'm not here about the fence. I'm not here to be an activist. I mean, we had to talk for those, the Bible said, we have to talk for those that can't talk. You know, we need to be good neighbors. Okay? As a matter of fact, that's what it says, right? Because I was hungry and you gave me something to eat, because I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink, because I was a stranger and you showed me some hospitality.
But then Nestor.
Okay, so, I mean, here we go. See the division now?
But yes, we're here to help each other. We couldn't get over this when we first came, these American people.
Right,
They didn't know us. I mean, we couldn't even communicate.
right.
We could have told a big lie, you know?
Right.
And we did what was right. They require paperwork.
Yes.
So why are they so afraid? When you are afraid, you don't live.
No, you
You
cannot
don't
let
live.
the fear
You don't.
control
You
you.
don't live in peace, and you make everybody else miserable. To
Right.
be honest, because then we are feeling for you. We can encourage them to learn English. Do you think my father worked very hard, and I remember he learned to read English. He read the paper. He wanted to know what was going on where we lived. You get it's not easy, but see the problem that I see now is they think the government is going to give them whatever they want. You
Right.
know, a big mistake was done. Now, how to correct a big mistake, I don't know. But they came in bunches. They didn't know who was coming in. And they took advantage of the system. They took advantage of people that have worked all their lives.
Right.
And the money went to help these people. And they're still doing that.
Right.
And the veterans are paying for it. So the Bible says too, you know, you have to follow the law.
Yeah.
And the law of this country, they didn't know. They just thought it's going to be free. Free, everything is free. So what? Let's go.
Right.
And
So
they didn't take a lie. You
I'm
know,
not disagreeing
they
with you.
took. Okay, well, they took a lie because that's some of the impression that I get. I say no.
I'm
No.
not disagreeing. We tell them.
Yeah.
They're
But-
here. They're already here.
You can help them on Sunday by worshiping
Again,
together.
we go here. They're here, and we tell them, we encourage them, and that we tell them we need to uphold the law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We don't tell them, oh, you're illegal, you can do this and that it goes against the law. No, that's not what I'm trying to say. We, as Christian, I believe that if they need help, it's the responsibility of the church, as Christian, to help them. How we help them? We teach them English, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We try to find them a job. Somebody did that with you.
Yes, and help
You
them.
know?
Go with them and help them.
Go do the paperwork with migration.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
too
how
much
we
on
can
migration law, but I know a couple of lawyers. You can go to this lawyer here, this organization that will help you out, But, and I respect this because the Bible say, that all the government are established by God, and that we need to submit to the government as well. So it's biblical. I understand that part. But my part is, what I'm talking, the other part is, if you want to call it the face of the coin, is we have a responsibility as the church to welcome everybody, regardless of their background.
And you
But
do.
That's what I'm
But
trying to
you
say.
yeah, I
do.
mean, because you think about. So I don't know that we. Let's see. See if I'm going to step into something now. So, so if somebody is in, which I don't know if we want to call an illegal immigrant sinful, that they are committing sins. I mean, we could talk about that and theorize about that. Regardless, if there is someone who is in sin, that is in an obvious sin, we don't say you can't come to our church. We don't want to have anything to do with you because because you're not acting like we want you. No, we want them to come in. We've had homosexuals who've come to our church, and we don't say you can't come here. We want them to come in, and we want them to hear the truth. And so I think probably both of y'all's positions can be agreed upon and coexist, because you are staunchly, because of your background, and rightfully so, you're saying we need to get these people to do the right thing. And there is a large segment of our culture, of the Hispanic culture, well, not just Hispanic, it's not just Hispanic, it's all illegal immigrants who've come in, and they're doing so without any conscience, really, and they're doing the wrong thing. And And I think what you're not denying that. You're simply saying, okay, they might be coming here for the wrong reason, but they're here. And so now what? So like, here's what we've got to do something what we can to reach them and to help them. And so I understand both positions. I also understand that we're out of time. So
She had a question.
Okay, I have a quick question, because I was listening to you about the immigration process, and you said, I think in your country it may take up to 20 years, and then I think you said in your country, anywhere from 4 to 5 years for them to get legalized. So is that the same processing of today's? Because, you know, Christy Nome was telling them if they voluntarily go back, they will give them X amount of dollars to go back home, but then they can also come back. So what is the processing of that?
So-
I have a niece.
Yes,
Okay.
I can, just want to clarify things. From my country, we are United States citizens.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
So,
his
yeah.
wife.
But,
So-
and I didn't even that didn't dawn on me either. So okay, go ahead.
I have a nephew that was married. They are divorced now to a Mexican lady, and
maybe it was Mexico, he said, but I know.
Mexico.
My wife,
Yeah.
my wife.
Yeah,
My-
that's what I heard.
his wife. But anyway, they were divorced. I mean, they were married at the time, and they both got lazy. He's American. She was not. She was from Mexico. She didn't want to do the paperwork. Children came, blah blah blah. Life got in the way, and before you knew, and this was under Obama. Obama sent a lot of people back to Mexico because that was the biggest country that a lot of people were here. She had to wait 1 year. She had to go to Mexico and apply legally to come to the United States, and it took her a year. It doesn't take that long.
Okay.
Now, nowadays, I don't know how long it will take because a lot of more came. so the line is getting longer.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, the government had named a bunch of immigration judge, and I mean, they still doing paperwork like forever.
Oh.
So, and then you complete the paperwork, there's something else that you have to do. I mean, it just take, and whenever you have to make a correction on your paperwork, there's a pile, and you go on the bottom.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a first in that I've never had two guests at one time. So this is a first for my little podcast. I'm going to ask for another first. I'm going to ask, can we continue this conversation if I can work it out? Because I've already got somebody set scheduled for next week. But if I can work it with them, can we do this again next week and pick up where we left off? Would y'all be available for that?
So,
Next week.
Yes.
I would love to be with you here again.
Me too.
Okay. Okay.
This
This is the only time I get to see him.
No, next Wednesday.
Next
If I
Wednesday.
can work it out. If
Okay.
I can push my guest back next week to another week,
Okay,
then, and she might even be listening right now, I'm not sure. But if I can do that, can y'all be back here next week?
sure.
And we'll
But-
continue this
but,
conversation.
You know, it's pretty much what we talked about today. Is
Right.
is
Well, but this, I mean, I like
we
the question.
can't we
I
can't.
won't be here next week.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just happen to be off today, so that's why.
But I like the question you made, you know,
Yeah.
it is, I appreciate that.
Because I've got a few more questions that I think that we
okay.
need to explore
Okay.
as a church body. So and as believers, not just our church in particular. So anyway, all right, we're 5 minutes over, so Mark is going to be mad at me. Sorry, Mark. Thank y'all for being here. Look forward to it again next week. Thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for being here. Let's pray real quick, and then we'll close out. God, we pray for wisdom that you would show us how to live and help us to consider. There's just so much to consider in this case as you think about the state and the government and our desire to follow your word that submits to the government authorities. At the same time, we want to submit to your call and how we treat individuals, and sometimes those things clash. And so, God, just give us wisdom to know how to proceed forward. And I thank you for both Estela and for Nestor for just coming and just opening their hearts and their minds to us. And we look forward to meeting again to continue this conversation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, thank y'all. We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you, that was very interesting.
Yes.
Oh, no, thank you.
Thank you for listening.
No, I appreciate